Hi, welcome to AfterBuzz TV's iTalk Movies. Today I'm in studio with Zulay Henao. She stars opposite Kevin James in the True Memoirs of an International Assassin. It sounds dangerous. It sounds fun. Don't go away.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's iTalk Movies.
Start clapping.
I like it too.
It's the best intro. I love the clapping. My favorite. It will never go away. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We are in studio today with Zulay Henao. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have fun ahead.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and I love your name.
Thank you. Z. So, Zoe and Zulay, we
Yeah.
are ready to go. Now, where can everyone find you on social media?
Zulay_Henao across the board. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I just keep it easy. My name's already hard enough. Yeah.
Makes it easy to find you.
Yeah.
And I'm your host, Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. Now, getting right into it, you have this cool movie coming out with Kevin
Yes.
James. Now, he plays a writer who people think that his stories are actually true, right?
Exactly. He plays a wannabe published writer, and he comes across this publisher who calls him after he's had, multiple decline letters from different publishing houses, and she calls him in the middle of the night, and he's like, sure, sign here. He signs. He's super happy, and unbeknownst to him, she had changed one keyword in the title, making it True Memoirs of an International Assassin, and that's where his adventure takes off. Even though he's making money and he's happy because he's published, he also gets kidnapped.
And
to Venezuela.
And your character comes to rescue him, right? I mean, you
I
are
do.
the badass woman in this movie.
Yeah, I get to rescue him. I play a DEA agent that's been kind of working in this underground world, underground, like dark, corrupt political world, and I'm trying to kind of bring this drug lord to justice, and also just trying to leave my mark and get ahead in my career. And then here he comes. Just a fish out of water, not knowing what he's doing. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I initially, try to befriend him because I want to use him to get, my agenda pushed forward. And then we end up obviously becoming friends, and I end up saving him. But in the end, I will give it to Kevin. He saves me back. So
Well, it's always good when it's mutual, right?
yeah.
And I love that you're playing just like this kick-ass, badass character, and that's something we don't always get to see in action movies. And as your first action role, did you feel like this was a nice, fitting intro to the genre?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't see it often, and we also don't see it being played by a Latino woman. So that was a huge, just a really gratifying experience for me to be able to have the trust of the studio, the trust of the director, and obviously having Kevin and the entire cast trust me with such a big load, because it was a lot. It was very, there was an intense, training schedule, and so there was a lot that I had, going on. And I also joined the cast a little later in the game, which made it even that much more challenging. But yes, this is absolutely, like we were talking before we came on live, that I really hope that this is just a really good foundation for me to be able to do more of this, because I loved it, guys. I'm like, I can do this. I'm ready for another one.
Now, I understand you had an awesome stunt double, but you did some of your stunts yourself, right?
Well, we did. I had a great stunt double, Jen, who is truly one of the best in the business. I was lucky enough to get someone who is so trained and so just really good at what she does. But, I do have to give Kevin and myself credit for really jumping in there. I mean, we tried as much as we could to really cover every stunt, and have them, of course, come in when it was like the jumping out of the airplane, the helicopter, and just doing the really intense fight, high kick scenes that you'll see in the movie Rosa, my character, does. So yeah, they made me look really good, but I'm really proud of the work that I put into it, and the fact that I really did a lot of the stunts myself.
And I feel like that's a very brave thing to do. I mean, no one could pay me enough to jump out of a helicopter, quite frankly. And you volunteered to be hung?
I did. I wanted to, and I had kind of an anxiety attack later on that day.
Of course.
We did it so much that after a while, I just had the sensation of the noose around my neck. Yeah. And I was just really living in that space, like, you're being hung, and emotionally and psychologically, I think it did something to me, and I ended up not having a good evening. But we won't get into that. It was amazing. I would do it again. The jumping out of the helicopter, I had the opportunity to ride in the helicopter, obviously tied down to it because we had no doors. But I actually wanted a little more leeway. I wanted to be able to move around a little more, and I wanted to do it. But there's also just like things illegally that I couldn't do.
Insurance doesn't want their star jumping out of an airplane. Now, with hanging, when I first heard this story, I thought, oh, so she was sitting somewhere, she just wanted it a little tighter. But that's not the case. And for anyone who hasn't heard the story, you kept saying tighter, tighter, and then you actually got knocked off of a box, right? So you were actually being hung.
Yeah, the scene in the movie where Kevin is running to save me from that is actually a real reaction. And you can see the urgency in how he was moving. And then because the box did get kicked out, and they all were very like, you don't have, I was like, it'll look more real, and I want this, because I think we got to play so much in the film, and it was really light, and I really wanted just to have a moment with Kevin that was really moving, and the fact that he came to save me, so I wanted to do it. And maybe in retrospect, the anxiety attack later on wasn't the best thing, but I loved it, and the scene came out really good.
So you have to walk me through this, because like my brain cannot fathom it whatsoever. So you're on the box. Yeah. They put the noose around. Yeah. They move the box so you can do the scene. How did they know how fast did they come back to catch you? So you're not hanging?
There's 10, people there just off camera next to me. And so they were very fast. And it wasn't like it wasn't that the scene that we shot was the one that did it, and it wasn't that I hung for a long period at all. It's movie magic, but I think what did it was the sensation of the noose around. I was never out of breath or in danger or anything like that. I want to make that really clear. To me, I feel like what happened was psychologically, just knowing, feeling because we did it. We did it so much, just because that's what you do when you're shooting a movie. You have different takes, different angles, and I think that's what happened. It wasn't that I was ever out of breath or it was that dangerous. It was that I kept feeling it even hours after I left set.
I feel like I can feel it. And you're right, that's an excellent point, that we should be very clear that this was a stunt with professional stunt people on a movie set. This is not
completely timed
to try. But it just blows my mind.
It was pretty cool.
Now, did you do any other stunts, or after that one was like, you know what, guys, I'll let Jen take over?
No, the helicopter stunt we did, I was in the helicopter when, prior to us seeing, I don't want to give it away, but prior to one of the people dying on the helicopter, I should say. So that was a pretty big one. I've been on a Chinook before when I was in the military. I'd never been on a helicopter with an open, just open doors. And so it felt kind of amazing. I was never scared on the helicopter. It was actually the most beautiful view of the jungle that we were filming. So it was really majestic. And in fact, when we were done, I was like, is there any way, do you need like 2 more shots? Because we could do it again.
Right. Then, people pay for those beautiful rides over the jungle or over the water.
And I just, one regret that I have is that I never have my phone on set. And I remember thinking when I was up there and I said, Zulay, because there was a good 8 or 10 seconds that we were off camera just when the helicopter was making its turn to return to the set. Could have taken a really beautiful picture out of the helicopter.
That would have been a great Instagram moment, right?
I know. We live for Instagram moments.
And you've got some amazing Instagram. It makes sense. And so also in the movie, were you guys laughing a lot on set? Kevin James is a known funny guy.
Yeah.
I love Hitch. That's like one of my favorite movies. So was it hard to keep from cracking up?
Absolutely. He's equally as funny in person as he is in his movies and in his TV shows. So for me, and I'm a huge King of Queens fan, so I've been watching him for years. I got in trouble a lot. I will say that much. And I think Kevin loved seeing me get in trouble. So he would purposely just try and make me laugh. Jeff is watching you. You got no fun on set. You can't laugh on set. So yeah, it was hard to keep a straight face. But that's how much fun to try and not suppress laughing.
And Jeff was the director on set.
Jeff Wadlow,
and
yeah.
you were telling me this great story too about how he would say,
settle, Zulay, we are shooting a movie here.
and Kevin said, right? Like,
Yeah, Jeff. Oh yeah, no, we're on a movie set. Why have fun? We shouldn't have fun on a movie set. So it was kind of like they played this game, and I was stuck in the middle, and I'm trying my hardest to really get back into character and get to work. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, it must have been. And I feel like you are doing a lot of fun roles. I mean, you got to do Meet the Blacks recently as well. And you were working with Mike Epps, so another funny guy.
I mean, that movie set was just another level because there were so many comedians on set. You have Mike Epps, you have Little Duval, you have Gary Owen. Mike Tyson was hilarious in the movie with his wig. That was a month of just debauchery. It was so much fun, and just watching comedians work with comedians is really cool.
Playing off of each other.
Because they really play off of each other and they improvise, and you're like, how do they do that? And wow, they're so funny. How do they think that way? So it was really, Kevin didn't have that luxury with me.
So would you say you are not, like some people feel like, oh, I'm definitely a funny person. Would you say you're in that funny person category, or you're more the straight man?
I don't consider myself necessarily like a funny person, but I do have like good moments where people laugh at things I say. So I'm like a decent funny person, but I don't think I'm a comedian at all. So you're laughing kind of.
I'm laughing. No, but it's fun. And I think that, when you're game to have fun also, it's easier to laugh and more fun.
Well, you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You have to laugh at yourself because then it's, you take life too seriously. And that was, this movie was really good for that. Kevin is a great like practical joker. And, if I forgot a line, he'd be like, can you remember, do you know, how long have you been, just like, how long do we have to? So it's fun to work with comedians to kind of see, they feed off of just their life and the reality of the moment. And that's a really beautiful skill.
It
set.
is.
Yeah.
It definitely is a skill set. And I think that's interesting too what you're saying about like how they were teasing you, because you really only do that also with people that you like. Otherwise, it's not taken exactly the same way.
And it's also, you also don't do it because you're like, if you don't like someone, you kind of, not that I ever dislike anybody, just kidding. You want to engage with them maybe in a not so, intimate way.
Right. That's right. And it is funny, no pun intended, I guess, that laughter is such an intimate thing in some ways. You're right. That otherwise, you want to take a step back and like, I'll do my job professionally, but I'm not interested in sharing that with you.
No, this was the complete opposite. We all laughed, and it was a tough shoot. We moved around a lot. We shot, here and out of the country in the Dominican Republic, where we went from being in Atlanta where it was really cold to being in like this humid tropical weather, which was amazing and fun. But they all have its challenges. So. And then shooting in the jungle, and so there were a lot of, there's just a lot to gather fun moments from.
Yeah, I bet. And also when you're traveling with a group like that, you only have each other.
Yeah.
So you become a little more insulated, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on a movie set, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I feel that much more the case on television, like on my TV show, I am so close to my castmates, especially the two girls who are also just now like really good friends of mine. Whereas in a movie set, you work for a certain amount of time, and then it's like, it was really great meeting you, and you just kind of go your separate ways. But you're right, this did feel, because we worked a month prior and a month after the holidays, it just felt like we were going back to a family situation, a family set.
Back to your friends.
Yeah.
And speaking of your TV show, you work on a great show produced by Tyler Perry with Oprah Winfrey. I mean, like these great names. You guys are going into, is it your 4th season now?
We're going into our 4th season, yes.
And that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what is the best part about this show? I mean, it's all about people in their different spots in their lives, right?
Well, the best part about the show for me is that I get to play someone who's so different from me. She's a mom. She's a single mom. She's, a really, not that I'm not a hard worker, but she has this, a 9-to-5 job that she goes to every day, she's just trying to like get her power back from her ex-husband or her ex-husband. So she's very different from me. And that's within the show. And then it's also, like I mentioned, the best part is I get to go work with my friends in Atlanta. We have so much fun down there. There's great food. We always make a little like local trip, the 3 of us, me and my girlfriend. So we just have a lot of fun. And working with Tyler, you know, we work for 8 weeks, and then we're, you know, kind of open for the year to go and explore, film and work on other things where I feel as though, you know, other TV shows and other networks don't really have that much liberty with their timing to do that.
Right, it locks you into more of the year. Well, the nice thing is that Tyler always works with the same people again and again, and he just got another 2-picture deal, so I feel like now is the chance to appeal to Tyler. Tyler, Zulay has some time free.
What's going to happen right now, this is great. I'm so glad you brought this up. You guys need to send me a copy of this. We're going to have the conversation, and I'm going to just make it so that Tyler just randomly gets this text message. He just got a 2-picture deal with Lionsgate. I did read that. And he just grossed an enormous amount of money with Medea's Boo. And I went to the premiere. I have to tell. Did you see it? It is actually, and I love Medea. I've been watching Medea for years. So this was my favorite Medea movie, if not one of my favorite Medea movies. There's one other that I can think of that I loved, but this one was really funny. And what I think is really genius is, and I told Tyler this after the premiere, I said, you give people so many opportunities. He put a lot of social media stars that are on the rise, that are comedians, that are coming up, and he's just genius in that way, where he creates a platform for so many different people. And I think that's why God keeps blessing him with so much and so much success, because he gives back so much to the community, and he gives so many people an opportunity. When you go to Tyler Perry Studios, you'll know, and you feel the energy when you walk onto the lot, that people just love him and want to work for him. Everybody that's there is happy to be there. Everybody that works for Tyler is, you know, feels that he is just the most generous, kindest human being. So I'm so happy for his success. So yeah, we're going to parlay this into a job.
Another into a 2-picture deal. Yeah. Well, I've interviewed Tyler twice before, once for Good Morning America, once for AMC, and he is always just so gracious and so friendly. And I love that you bring up the religion, because that is also a really interesting aspect of his life and yours, right? The religious end. And so there's always like a prayer circle before the show starts, and he really brings that in. So what is it like working on set with someone who does bring in the religion, which does not happen typically?
I think more so than religion, I think what he does is he grounds people, and he brings us all together, and it's just about gratitude. So it's not so much like, let's be religious and have this. No, it's let's hold hands and let's wish each other well throughout the day, and let's recognize how grateful and how lucky we are to be in this position. And that, I think, is what people take away from the prayer circle in the morning. If you're there in the morning, you get it. We do it in the morning, and it really does just set the tone for a day that will bring its challenges, that will have, you know, there's challenges on set. And I think when you have that in the morning, when we have that in the morning with Tyler, I think it just really sets the tone for all of us to just really give our best and lead with love and have patience and just give our best work.
And do you think there's something that drew you guys to each other, I guess, because of that similar philosophy?
You know, I don't know. I would bet yes, because I think Tyler's a very intuitive person. He's one of the most intuitively gifted people I've ever encountered in my life. So maybe he saw that in my audition. You know, I don't know, but I am so happy that whatever brought us together. I think he and I really, I know he sees it in me, and I recognize it in him. So there's a level of respect that goes beyond the movie business. Right. I really respect and admire not just his journey, but his the way that he walks through the world with his compassion and empathy, and it's just really a good boss to have. Good company to keep.
And he's a good boss also who seems to have taken you under his wing, because I love the story that you have met Oprah, who's of course one of the producers on your show. Yeah. So it makes sense that she's there, but not everyone gets to meet Oprah. I feel like she is like the holy grail.
She's so amazing.
Personalities. So.
I always tell her, I'm like, you were supposed to be my aunt. You don't know that, but I call you my auntie Oprah. She's amazing.
And so what was it like when you were first told, hey, Oprah's here, come on, Zulay?
Well, I was in my dressing room, and there comes Tyler, like, hey, come down. I'm wearing lingerie for the set, for the scene. And I'm like, Tyler, I can't go. I would look down the hallway. I see her. I'm like, oh, my God. He's like, come on. I'm like, I can't. I'm wearing lingerie. This is not how I envisioned this first meeting to go. Do you understand how embarrassing and how out of character that is for someone to walk up to Oprah in full on lingerie? So he's like, if you don't come now, you're gonna lose your chance. Right. I should have known. I was not my last chance. But anyway, I went anyway, and I run up to her, and I'm trying to like position my body, like walk up to her and say, just because that's not how I wanted to meet her. So what I ended up doing was just giving her this big bear hug and burying my head in her hair and just laying, just like, don't look at me, just keep it right here. I love you. I admire you. This is not what I thought this was going to be, but it was great. She laughed. I was like, I'm so sorry. This is it. This is what we got for you today. Lingerie. She's like, it's all good. She's the most gracious, kindest, prettiest. She smells good.
I feel like, is there anything that's not good about Oprah?
No.
So what surprised you the most when you met her?
She's very open. Like she was just like a conversation with another woman. She didn't have the block that I thought someone of her stature or her star or star of that caliber would have. And I always know that and I knew that to be true because I always feel like I feel like A-list actors or people that you feel like are the hugest stars or just the kindest people, and everyone who kind of isn't is where entertainers get a bad rep from. She's just a normal, beautiful, kind, loving, engaging person, and that was that.
I know.
Amazing,
I mean, it makes me
Have
want
you
to.
met her?
I have not, and I'd love to meet Oprah.
We gotta
I know.
meet her.
I need to come interview you on set when Oprah's there one day.
Yeah.
Now, the next time you met her, did you bring up the fact you had been in lingerie the first time around?
I don't think it was the next time. I brought it up at some point, but now that I know, I've been lucky enough to know now when I'm gonna have the opportunity to meet her, so I dress appropriately and I'm very covered up, and I look like a lady, and it's been nice. She's so kind.
She's anti-Oprah.
Yeah.
But let's not like you just ran up to her on the street wearing lingerie. I mean, you were at work doing a scene.
I was at
where
work
you had
for her,
to,
yeah.
Right? So I feel like you get a good pass there.
I got a pass.
It might be awkward meeting your boss wearing lingerie, but it made sense in the moment.
It made sense in the moment, and I don't think she holds it against me at all.
I'm sure she doesn't. Now, when do you go back to start shooting season 4? Do you have a date yet?
I don't have a date, although I did see Tyler the other day at the premiere, and I asked him, and he said, I think it should be like early next year, April-ish, March, April-ish.
So that's an interesting time, too, to be in Atlanta, because it's starting to heat up there, too, right?
Well, and what
the weather?
Oh, the weather. I was going to say, in what capacity? Yeah, it's starting to heat up there. I used to think that Atlanta was just this nice, warm place all year round because I thought it's not New York, so it is cold in Atlanta in the winter, and people are like, no, it's Atlanta. It's like, I'm like, no. When I was there shooting this movie, it was in like the 30s, and it was really cold. It was like New York. I had to go and buy extra layers.
Jacket, yeah. It gets cold there. It does.
So yeah, I love shooting there when it's summer because Atlanta's so much fun in the summer. But last season we didn't shoot in the summer, and we were all a little bit like, oh man, because we like to barbecue and just on the weekends we all get together. So I think if we go a little later in the year this year, I think that would make a lot of us happy. Tyler.
Yeah. So another request, Tyler. Can we fix the schedule?
I know.
So you've worked on a lot of great projects. You're so visible and on posters now. What was it like the very first time you saw yourself like on a poster or billboard, like in a public place?
Oh my God. Okay, so that was for Feel the Noise some time ago. And I remember walking by with my mom, and I'm like, I don't want to stand there and take a picture. That's weird. And my mom really wanted to, and I didn't want to. And then it just hit me that I wasn't really owning the fact that I had worked to have that poster there. And now I will go and take a picture, and I'll stand there and I'll be like, hey. It's really gratifying experience. It's really, I think it's part of human nature to want to be acknowledged for your work, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. I think it's not as narcissistic as I used to think it was, or as but it's really nice to see yourself on a poster because it's your hard work, and you're like, hey, good, there you go, girl. I like that.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really great point. You're right. At first, maybe it feels like, oh, I'm too narcissistic. I can't do this.
Oh, my mom, please, let's just walk right by it. No, I celebrate it a little bit more now.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you should. You're right. It takes a lot of hard work. Not everyone gets to be on a poster.
Not everyone
And
gets to be on a poster.
your mom must have been just absolutely thrilled beyond belief, too.
My mom is always thrilled like it's the first time. She sends me pictures. She's in New York. She's like,
So, like, wherever she sees you, she takes a
wherever
photo
she
of it?
sees it, yeah. She's that mom. I love her, but she's that mom.
Well, you guys are really close, right? You just went on vacation together
We
to
did,
Italy.
yep.
I mean,
For her birthday, it was her dream vacation to go to Rome and to go to Italy in general. And we ended up making a stop in Austria, in Vienna, because she wanted to go to the opera.
Oh,
So we were at the opera for her birthday, which was amazing.
Yeah. And your luggage got lost, right? So you had to buy a dress last minute? Is that what happened?
I borrowed a dress from my mom.
It was her dress.
It was
okay.
her dress that, I was like, I had a really nice dress packed. Like, I'm going to the opera for the first time. I'm like, in Vienna, we're going to go watch Macbeth. We have this whole thing and my luggage doesn't show up. And I was devastated. And then I was further devastated when I found out from the people in Vienna that they have 250 claims from last year that are still being figured out. So I was just like, okay, what would my friend, like, what would somebody do in my position? So I started tweeting Alitalia. And they tweeted me back. And then shortly thereafter, I had somebody on the phone. And then someone was DMing me. Then I had someone on the phone. They're like, we're going to get you your luggage. So Alitalia, the airline, is amazing.
So they found your luggage.
They found my luggage and they brought it to my hotel in Vienna.
But not on time.
Not on time.
But
not
you
in
did
time
get
for
it.
the opera, but I got the luggage. It was all...
I was going to ask the follow-up because, right, you said there are more than 200 people still waiting. So.
You should have seen me at the airport. Now we're leaving Vienna. We're flying into Naples for our vacation, for our 10-day Italian part of it. And I'm literally like, is there any way I can bring this on the plane with me? I don't want to leave it. Yeah. They're like, there's no way. Your bag weighs 50 pounds. And I said, but I just want it by me. I want to be able, you have no idea what I just went through. And they're like, lady, we will make sure your luggage gets to Italy. And sure enough, we get to Italy and here comes my bag.
Yay!
And I was like, yes.
It's like, is that a hallelujah moment?
It's like the most, it's things you take for granted, so many things. The fact that you put your luggage and it just goes through this journey on its own.
On its own, right.
Out there in the world with random people just looking at these. You're like, it's a miracle. Your bag comes back to you.
It is. And I've had lost bags too, but thank goodness they have shown up without too much frustration.
Yeah.
So now I feel like next time I fly, I'm doomed. I'm not going to
yeah. Fly Alitalia, and if you have a problem, tweet them. They've got a great customer service. Yeah.
I don't know. I might tweet you and be like, Zulay,
what did you
help.
call? Go through my email.
Get my
be like,
bag.
what's your name?
So you have a really interesting background too. So your mom wanted to go to Italy, but your family's originally from Colombia and immigrated here when you were younger.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like you identify with that Colombian heritage?
Absolutely. I'm Colombian-American for sure. Even though I came here when I was 4, my grandparents never even spoke English. I mean, I'm sure they have a sentence or two in them, but at my grandparents' house, we just always kept our culture really present, our language really present, the food. I grew up on just kind of like this dual, cultural, beautiful mix. So I do consider myself, I'm an American. I've been here since I was 4. This is my country. I'm proud to be an American, but I'm equally as proud to have my roots and have been born in such a beautiful country like Colombia. And I used to go, a lot before I started acting, really. I started acting and then I just, you're like, I can't, it's too long. And then when I have gone on vacation, my mom and with my family, we've just always wanted to explore different places, but I haven't been to Colombia in about 7 years. So I'm gonna get back there soon.
You need to go shoot a movie there. That'll be a win-win then.
You know that this movie, Colombia was one of the places they were considering to shoot.
So close.
And I was like, damn it. Yeah.
Maybe we can appeal to Tyler again. Tyler, for your 2-picture deal, either one of them needs to go to Colombia.
Tyler would not do it. He owns his own studio. He's like, I'm shooting in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you very much.
This is true. You might get a loss on the Tyler movies. Now, I think it's interesting. Like, do people... are people surprised when they find out that you speak Spanish because you have no accent?
Sometimes
so it
they
doesn't,
are.
you know, to me, it's whenever I hear someone else like suddenly speak another language, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to trick people. I'm like, and then I'll just start speaking in Spanish, and they're like, but I get a mix of both, of people saying I do have an accent, and then people like you who say I don't. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just an East Coast accent that I may have in some of my vocabulary, but people do get shocked, one, because I speak it so well, and I came here when I was 4, again due to the fact that my grandparents were so adamant that we do speak Spanish, and so is my mom. And you know, my mom used to ship in books, and I remember just coming home from school and having like another session of Spanish school with my mom. So she was very good about that.
And that's really nice, and it's so important to speak another language. Now you have siblings also, so
I
all
do.
of you speak
All of us
fluent
speak Spanish,
then.
yeah.
And your brother, at least, is on your Instagram a lot,
Yeah.
like going to events with you. Is he in LA with you?
He's in LA. He's starting to act. He's, you know, actually on hold for a really cool project right now. He's done some commercials. He did a guest star on my show with Tyler. Tyler was kind enough to audition him and give him a part on that. So, and he's also my producing partner. We started a production company together that we're building from the ground up. It's hard to get people to believe in that other. I think producing is kind of like the natural progression of things. If you want to create your own content and if you just want longevity. So I've seen firsthand how, I mean, I'm an actor. I've been in LA for the last 7 years. I know how hard it is to work steadily and to create and to have opportunities come your way. So he and I are, you know, creating content, not just for ourselves, but for, you know, other people, you know, create opportunities, and also just telling a story. We want to tell a story that is compelling and that's beautiful and that we want to tell. So it's called The Sound of Humming. It's the first, it's been in the writing process for about a year, and we've sent it out to some people. We're getting some good notes and feedback. And I understand it's a process. Like this is a process that is its own thing, and I'm willing to, you know, do the work and do, you know, just do my due diligence and kind of ease into that. I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, but it's very, very good to have. It feels really good to have the doors opened for me based on, you know, my work up until now. The fact that somebody will read it and give us great feedback and, you know, send it to a production company. That's amazing.
And you seem to be very good at that long-sighted career goal, because right out of high school, right, you entered the Army because of the need for money. But after your 3 years, you're like, I'm going to acting school. I know what I want to do.
Yeah, you know, more so than the need for money, I obviously wanted to go to school, and that was the money aspect of it, was the college. But I also, when I remember talking to the recruiter and just having these long, in-depth conversations. It's a big decision. You have to have those long conversations. I just remember thinking that how awesome it would be to serve my country and to travel and to just get a different view of the world than I would have ever had in Attleboro, Massachusetts. And it ended up being the most amazing decision I've ever made, because I don't think that I would have made the decisions, had the discipline, had I not had that foundation with the military, because it's like a whole different lifestyle. It's not a job. It's, you know, you don't check in and check out. You're there.
Right, it's your life.
It's your life. And, you know, you have a mission to complete, and it made me understand that I needed to treat life that way. You know, going forward at a very young age, I needed to, you know, have a plan, you know, in place and understand what it would take to complete the mission, because that's how it works in the military. You know, you have an op order, there's a mission state, you know, there's steps.
Process.
There's a process.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're right. It gives you that exact process. Sure.
And life is just like that. You know, it's like thoughts become things, yes, but thoughts have to become actions.
Yeah.
And those actions have to have an order to them. So,
yeah, that's a really interesting point. And do you feel like people are surprised to find out you've been in the military, that it gives you that like bad girl cachet?
Absolutely. There, you know, in fact, I remember having an audition years ago where the character was a military-based movie. John Singleton was producing it, and I know John from, I did a movie, Illegal Tender, that he was a producer on. And he looked at me, he's like, Zulay, you weren't in the Army. And I'm like, John, yes, I was. Like, sorry to tell you. He's like, I want to see pictures. So I went and I dug up pictures. I didn't get the part, but.
I guess it wasn't believable enough that you were actually in the military.
No, I think like someone amazing that was really working a lot at the time. And this was like 5 or 6 years ago. But people are really shocked, and it's not that they don't want to believe me. It's just such a crazy transition. It's not the most it's just not the most obvious, right? So I understand the disbelief, the initial disbelief. So,
and I just feel like, were you surprised? Are people more surprised by the fact that your family's from Colombia and you speak Spanish, or that you were in the military? Because I feel like just looking at you, those aren't two things you would automatically assume.
I think the military is more. Has more shock value.
Well, and speaking of Colombia, you've got a great photo on your Instagram with Sofia Vergara, who is probably the most famous Colombian actress, at least in America, the highest paid one on television.
I love her.
Now, do you feel like there's some trickle effect that you say, like, my family's from Colombia, and they're like, oh, Sofia? Like, is there any of that?
I mean, there's, I have to say I'm really proud that we have so much talent coming out of Colombia in the music world. We have some huge superstars, starting with Shakira, but aside from her, there's just J Balvin, Maluma, there's just some, Carlos Vivas, they're just international superstars that you wouldn't necessarily think would all come from the same little area. Sofia, just the highest paid actress, I believe last year that they said she was the highest paid in television.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Modern Family has been on for a long time now. I mean, it's one role that made her, really.
Yeah. And she'd been acting for a long time prior to that. I was a fan of hers forever because, of course, we watch Spanish television in my house too. She had a travel show for many years. She worked at Tyler, so in the hallways of Tyler Perry Studios, there are beautiful pictures of Sophia, and you're walking by, you're like, gosh, she's beautiful. She's inspirational, and she's really sweet and down to earth and kind too. So I think that when I say I'm Colombian, they're like, oh, okay, I guess.
I get it.
Yeah.
And that's so true, right? It only takes one role for it to all gel, I guess.
Gel together, right.
Like on Friends, it was that one role that made them all famous.
Famous, yeah.
And it's so funny, you never know what that one thing is going to be.
And I've learned I'm not focusing on that.
Right.
Like people say to me, oh, well, this movie should be the movie that, gets you to a different, I'm like, the movie is really funny. It's really good. I'm happy to be in the movie, but I don't put that kind of pressure on myself anymore. To me, it's about the fact that I'm doing what I love and that I'm having fun doing it. And if great things come from this, really great. But if I continue to work, I mean, I don't have that. I can't. I've done that before, and it's not fun, and it kind of takes away from the magic of it all. I mean, I can easily sit here and say that I'm living my dream of what I set out to do, which is being movies and being an actress and work, and you have to be grateful at every level, and if things grow from there, then let that be its own thing. But I'm not attached to the outcome of things like that anymore.
I mean, that can't possibly, right, if that's your end goal, then you're always trying to figure out, instead of just doing the best job.
Because the problem then becomes like, what's next? What's going to top this? And then you're never you're never happy with where you are. Right. And I don't want to live that way, because that's that's stressful.
And do you think some of that comes with success because you have already met with a fair share of success? Or do you think some of that comes from your religious faith? Where do you think that comes from?
I do think it does come from my faith. But also I think you just evolve as a human being, and you start seeing like the things that really matter in life. Like I am more in tune with the things that I want. I want to like see the world, and I want to do good, and I want to be a great person, and I want to get better. Yes, I want to become a better actress and have better roles and do all those things, but that's not it's not really all I identify with anymore.
Yeah, which is important. Like, one thing can't be your life, no matter what that one thing is.
No matter what it is.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So you've traveled a ton all over the world, some amazing opportunities, right, with the military as well as with work. Where haven't you been that you'd love to go, that you'd like to put on your bucket list and check off?
You know what? I haven't been to Paris, and I think I've done that on purpose. I've been all through Europe, but I always had this like vision of me being like in love in Paris and just like having this like romantic. So I have not been to Paris. I don't need that. I'll make it there this year probably, or next year. But I do want to go to Thailand. I'm planning that too, because I've heard that they have these baby elephant farms that you can go and like pet and hang out with, not necessarily ride, because I don't know how I feel about that. I'd have to see what the conditions of. But there are nurseries out there, and these pictures that I've seen, that I continue to see about Thailand and just the natural beauty of the. I mean, I need to figure my way. Find my way there somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Thailand is amazing. And I had some curry off the street when I was there. Ooh. And it was the hottest food I have ever had in my life.
Curry lover. I'm not a big curry lover. No. But I don't dislike it. Like I'll have it if my brother loves Indian food, so sometimes I'm like, oh sure, I'll go with you. So I like it. I like Indian food. I'm not a huge curry lover, but I'm sure that I'll venture off into some. I'll try it.
It was amazing. Yeah. I mean, I love street food. So,
me too.
You know, when you travel, that's
you should
the
go
best
to Colombia.
way.
That's the best thing.
I would love to. Yeah.
Or Italy.
I would love to also. Yeah, I've focused more, it seems like, on Asia, so I have not been to all the European countries. So there's my bucket list.
There you go.
So you also have a dog at home, right? Who you love to dress up. Was she a peacock?
I love her.
Chloe, right?
Chloe. Now you've touched my heart in a whole different way. I am in love with her. She's my 7-month-old French bulldog. I got her like 4 months ago. And she's the sweetest little girl ever. I just left her for 7 days. I left her with my publicist. She took care of her. And I missed her so much. And I really do believe Chloe was mad at me when I came home.
I'm sure she was
not her usual loving self. I'm like, that's right. Play hard to get. Mama left you for 7 days. So she's finally starting to come around and like do that number. But before, she just walked in the house and she like took off. And I'm like, what is up with this dog? She dressed up as a peacock for Halloween.
And did you have a coordinating costume?
No, I didn't dress up this year. I had a costume, but I was working, and Chloe went to that dog Halloween party a couple of days before Halloween, and she didn't win the contest.
What?
I mean, I could if I. The people probably will eventually see this. The dog that won, look.
Not a good dog.
No, he was beautiful. The dog was beautiful,
but
I
Chloe was better.
I think Peacock was a lot more was cuter.
Okay, what was the winning costume? You have to tell us.
He was they dressed him like just like an army like a general type thing with like he was cute. He was really cute.
But he was no Chloe.
I wanted Chloe to win. It was her first Halloween.
I get that feeling. My animals dress up too.
And she was like the life of the party, walking around everywhere and like saying hi to everybody. Yeah.
So does Chloe travel with you to Atlanta then? Or will she I guess?
She will. She'll come to Atlanta with me. That's part of the reason why I got her, because sometimes, it's really nice to when you're in Atlanta and I'm there and I'm in the apartment, there is a lot of time that you're just alone working and studying, and it's just nice to have your little friend with you. So I'm going to bring her.
Yeah. So how big is she? Can she ride on the plane with you, or
she will ride on the plane with me? Yeah, she's about 20 pounds.
Oh, okay. So she must just fit that.
She just fits
plane
that
size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Unless you buy her a seat. Is that what you're going to say?
It's not buying
Is Chloe getting a first class seat right next to you?
That would be ridiculous. If that ever happens, I would be ashamed if people saw me. I'd be like, this is Chloe. My mom's in the bathroom.
You'd have to be like, Chloe's a famous dog, like Grumpy Cat.
She does walk around like she's a celebrity. She walks up to people like thinking that they have to say hi to her. I'm like, Chloe, everyone doesn't love you. Like, you have to give people a chance to warm up to you and to come to you.
That's great. Yeah. And she was a rescue, I assume?
No. You know what? There is no such thing as a French bulldog rescue. The breed is just so popular right now, and I'm sure that older dogs you can rescue, and I understand the importance of. And my very good friend Maite has a rescue, and I did think about it, but I really wanted a French bulldog, and I really wanted a puppy.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's grown a lot then in 4 months.
She has.
And she's full size now at 20 pounds.
She'll be full size in a couple of months in February. So she's got a little more growing to do. I think her head's gonna get bigger. I'm like, please.
You have to take lots of baby pictures now, right? Well, Zulay, this has been so much fun chatting with you. Thank you for coming in. Where can everyone find you on social media just so they can keep up with Chloe and your adventures?
Come keep up with me and Chloe. Zulay_now at, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just my name. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to watch the movie and then go to my Twitter or my Instagram and tell me how you liked it.
Absolutely, right. And you interact with people a lot. So
I do.
That's the place to go. And I'm your host, Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well. I'm at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. And you can also find me on our sister network at AfterBuzz, heading the Shark Channel. That's not even a show. The Shark Tank panel. There we go. After show on Monday nights. Thank you so much for joining us here on Popcorn Talk. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.